MeMonster.
Chapter 6. In the middle of the night, I left my room. The handgun in my pocket rattled uncomfortably, but without a holster, there was nothing I could do. My destination was the shooting range. Located east of Dorm 1, the shooting range was a dome-shaped building with 20 training rooms. The targets were arranged oddly around the shooter's position. This was because, unlike bullets, magic arrows could easily change their trajectory. Rank 934, Kim Hajin, confirmed. When I held my smartwatch against the entrance, an unfamiliar robotic voice called my name. My name had indeed changed from Kim Chun-dong to Kim Hajin. Feeling a bit strange, I walked inside. Past the wide circular lobby, 10 doors were evenly spaced. I held up my smartwatch to one of them. Rank 934, Kim Ha-jin, confirmed. The door opened. The shooting range was simple. At the center of the 130 square meter circular space was a low scaffolding for the shooter. I walked to the center. As I stepped onto the platform, a polite robotic voice rang out from the ceiling. You must choose at least 2, and can choose at most 20. 10. My voice echoed, and insect-like blue objects popped up from the ground. I looked at the targets surrounding me. They were mole crickets, monsters barely considered monsters. They looked like ordinary mole crickets, just much bigger. You choose your training difficulty. You can choose from Stage 1 to Stage 9. A higher level meant the targets moved faster. At Stage 9, the targets even attacked, although the attacks would only sting at best. They were still dangerous to me. Stage 4. I set the difficulty to Stage 4 and loaded my magic bullets. If I were skilled at handling magic power, I could compress it into bullets without needing physical ones, but I didn't have that talent yet. Even if I could, using a bow was much more destructive and efficient. Start! I told the system to begin and aimed my gun at the leftmost target. The slowly moving mole cricket seemed to sense my hostility and sped up. It scuttled around with no set pattern, but I could see its trajectory. It was like seeing an afterimage of its future path. Predicting its movement, I pulled the trigger. A blue flare shot from the barrel. There was no loud noise like guns on Earth. The bullet left the barrel silently and should pierce the mole cricket. I didn't bother to check the result. As soon as the bullet left, I moved to the next target and fired. My hand moved on its own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. I pulled the trigger 10 times. The mole crickets I hit scattered into particles of mana. Only 2 targets survived. Oh ho! I was impressed. Just by writing a gift, I managed to hit all the mole crickets except for the 2 farthest away. Your training ended. Elapsed time, 1.37 seconds. Sharpshooting score, 80 out of 100. In just 1.37 seconds. This is pretty fun. It's an eternal truth. The better you are at something, the more fun it is. It was fun because I was good at it. Feeling like I was at an arcade, I shouted, "Start!" again. But another truth. No matter how fun something is, doing it 20 times gets boring. Around 3 a.m., I stopped my shooting practice. After leaving the shooting room, I was relaxing my sore finger when I heard a noise next door. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The faint sound of shock waves, arrows cutting through the air. The source was the room next door. Curious, I peeked. I shouldn't have been able to see anything through the closed door, but I could see through it. The door turned faint, and the interior revealed itself. The scene beyond the door showed why bows were superior to guns. Oh, Che Nayun. Che Nayun was target practicing with a serious face. 4 arrows sat on her bow. They were magic arrows, wound with magic power.
Because her magic power technique was still lacking, she couldn't perform split shot, which multiplies a single arrow into multi-directional shots. Whoosh! Che Naiyun released the bowstring. Her arrows left a blue trail of magic power as they flew toward the 20 targets. As if alive, her arrows obliterated the targets. Amazing! I couldn't help but exclaim. Still, Che Naiyun's real aptitude wasn't for bows. There was a weapon that suited her even more. But if she was already this good with a bow, just what kind of setting did I create? At that moment, Che Naiyun suddenly turned around. Her eyes met mine. Though she couldn't see me through the wall, something felt off. I quickly left. Sharpshooting training increases your gift's proficiency by 3%. Repeated sharpshooting training increases your gift's proficiency by 2.9%. Luck applies. Your perception and speed increase by 0.1. Repeated sharpshooting training increases your gift's proficiency by 2.8%. These messages appeared on my laptop. Master Sharpshooter's proficiency shot up, and the stats I gained from luck were a bonus. Because the gift's grade was low, I had already reached 50% proficiency XP. Achieving grade 9 didn't seem too difficult. Master Sharpshooter. Low intermediate rank. Spirit attribute. Evolving grade 10. Proficiency XP 50%. Master Sharpshooter's training. Familiarity with all long-range weapons. 1,000-mile eyes. Can see far away and somewhat predict a target's movement path. Bullet time. In combat only, and once per 24 hours, you can spend 3 seconds in bullet time. The more I thought about it, the better this gift seemed, especially since it applied to all long-range weapons. Right now, it was easier to raise proficiency with a gun than a bow, but since a bow was stronger, I'd have to switch eventually. But what's up with the SP? You got 0.2 SP. You got 0.2 SP. An auspicious gift. You got a bonus 1 SP. You got 0.2 SP. After 20 rounds of practice, I only got 5 SP. Choosing a gun as my main weapon gave me 64 SP, so showing off and standing out gave more SP than quietly training. Tsk. Even though I only got a little SP, I still had a use for it. Combat training was tomorrow. To get even a few points, I needed to make up for my lack of physical ability. The biggest problem was stamina. Because I put all my points into luck, I was weaker than an ordinary person. Training sneakers. Specially crafted sneakers. Adds 0.3 points to stamina and speed. Maybe with this. The easiest way to fix my problem was with equipment. I started typing on the keyboard. Mystical training sneakers. Specially crafted sneakers. Contains mystical power. Adds 0.3 points to stamina and speed. Enhances energy and stamina recovery. You do not have enough SP. But this time, the modification was cancelled due to insufficient SP. I wasn't too surprised. I only had 5 SP, but it was too early to give up. Mystical training sneakers. Specially crafted sneakers. Contains mystical power. Adds 0.3 points to stamina and speed. When the wearer desires, energy and stamina recovery is enhanced for 1 hour. After use, this effect cannot be used again for 24 hours. This effect disappears after 1 month.
To save SP, I added 3 restrictions: a 24-hour cooldown, a 1-hour effect duration, and effect dissipation after 1 month. You used 5 SP. Would you like to save? Oh, it worked! I hit the Enter key ecstatically. Immediately, a blue light flashed from the laptop. The dancing light melted into the sneakers, and a streak of color was branded onto the white sneakers.
Chapter 7. Outcall, a magic power explosion that occurred 50 years ago, shook the world. After this event, mysterious entities like towers, dungeons, and monsters began to appear. These chaotic existences shook the very foundation of humanity. The blue planet of humans turned into a hell. Monsters devoured humans, and towers and dungeons ceaselessly produced monsters like factories. In the face of these calamities, humanity's science and technology lost their meaning. Society collapsed, and the rule of law gave way to the law of the jungle. Survivors crumbled to their instincts, losing the virtues that made them human. Within this hellfire, heroes emerged as shining stars. With transcendental powers, they corrected the chaos. The world was reconstructed as quickly as it had collapsed. Using gifts bestowed by heaven, they brought about miracles with a flick of their hands. With their help, humanity recovered its lost virtue, joining the heroes with revitalized technology and science. Magic science and magic engineering were thus born. Eventually, towers, dungeons, and monsters were all designated as targets to be destroyed. However, the differences among them were significant. Towers required many people and a long period of time to conquer. On the other hand, depending on their difficulty, dungeons could be conquered by a single person as long as he knew its location. Towers gave better rewards, containing treasures that humans had never dreamed of. Then, what was the name of the tower conquered by the Guild Apostle of Saints on August 17, 2023, and what was its reward? Morning class was post-outcall history. The few sentences I had written had turned into a 400-page textbook. Things to remember included rewards from towers, names of monsters, locations of dungeons in Perea, conquerors of towers and dungeons, and countless others. Even as the author, there was too much information to process. Thankfully, it didn't pose a problem for me, all thanks to my gift, observation, and reading. On August 17, 2023, the Apostle of Saints conquered the Tower of Floods and obtained an ocean stone. Whenever I looked at something, I could get information about it, so I had nothing to worry about. On the other hand, the girl sitting in front of me scratched her head and sighed. Looking at the character I made, I couldn't help but laugh. Che Na-yoon hated studying. She had the ability to take the #1 spot among female cadets, but because written exams held her back, she had to give up first place to Rachel. Even if she gnashed her teeth in mortifying defeat, written exams were still too much of a hurdle. At that moment, Che Na-yoon turned her head halfway towards me. Her curt eyes glared at the person sitting behind her, me. She must have heard my laughter. After all, sharpshooters had keen senses. I pretended to be calm as I lowered my head and focused on taking notes. Che Na-yoon clicked her tongue and faced forward again. The lesson continued. Places with high mana density, monster behavior, jinns on the wanted list. The bell rang only after 2 hours had passed. Make sure to go back and read the notes you took today, otherwise you'll cry on the exam. The gray-haired professor wearing round eyeglasses left with those words. So annoying. Why do I have to learn all this? Written exams are so annoying. Che Na-yoon began to complain the moment the professor left. However, her face was full of smiles. It was most likely because of the next class. Anti-Monster Combat Training. Just like its name suggested, it was combat training against monsters. The monsters used in the lesson were mana puppets, but their appearance and destruction power were faithful to the real thing. Of course, they were weaker than their real counterparts, but there was still a high chance of getting injured. I was scared. We're meeting in the field in 20 minutes. A loud voice rang out in the classroom. I turned towards the voice. Oval face, small, gentle eyes, and a muscular body that didn't match his face. It was Kim Soo-ho's supporter, Yi Young-han. Knowing the conflict between Kim Soo-ho and Shin Jung-hak, the instructor in charge of the classroom chose Yi Young-han to be the class president. I just hope it wouldn't hurt. After a 20-minute break, everyone from the Veritas class gathered at the novice field. With 100 people here, it seemed quite crowded. The cadets were sharing their half-nervous, half-excited expectations with their friends, but I was alone. Only I was alone. Fuck. While I was wallowing in loneliness, the instructor, Kim Soo-hyuk, showed up. The cadets immediately stood in 10 columns in front of him. I'm sure you all know what this lesson is about, so I'll announce the teams without explanation. Unless something special happens, this team will be the same until after the midterms. Team formation. The cadets grew restless at the exciting yet nerve-wracking process. A team generally consisted of 5 members, 2 warriors, 1 sharpshooter, 1 supporter, and 1 utility player. Warriors were usually close-range combatants like spearmen or swordsmen. Sharpshooters were the long-range attackers, and supporters were people like Yu Yan-ha and Yi Young-han who attacked themselves or supported the main attackers. Finally, the utility player was generally the magician's position, so it was excluded until the first year ended. When a magician was added, the supporter would have an additional role in protecting the magician. After all, magicians are important. My role here was a bit iffy. Roles were assigned based on the main weapon we chose, and I wasn't a warrior. I was too lacking to be a sharpshooter. Guns had a shorter range than bows, and guns were weaker compared to melee weapons that could attack from afar. Sharpshooter, long range, rank 4, Chae Na-yoon, rank 9, Yim Young-jin, rank 934, Kim Ha-jin, rank 945, Oh Ji-yoon. Anyway, it seemed I was assigned as a sharpshooter. Kim Soo-hyuk announced team members will be selected fairly. Lower-ranked cadets will be paired with higher-ranked cadets. Cube's training classes were administered by the artificial intelligence developed by the Great Sage. As a result, there was no room for corruption or persuasion. I could see the pitiful result with my own eyes. Team 1, Kim Soo-ho, Kim Rang, Sung Sung-won, Pain. Team 2, Damian, Rosen, Chun-li, Chae Na-yoon. Team 5, Jin Ho-sung, Hazuki, Kim Hajin, Yun Yu-hea. Looking at my assigned team, I became lost for words. Yu Yan-hea. Yu Yan-hea was on my team. In my novel, she was one of the most loved and hated characters. Looking around, I met her eyes. Her jewel-like eyes flashed with deep contempt and disdain, but that was only for a moment. By the time I blinked once, the negative feeling in her eyes was gone. Surprisingly, she walked towards me with a smile. Her long hair fluttered with each of her dignified steps. Her beautiful lips moved modestly. "It's nice to meet you. I'm..."
Ho-sung-shi. But I wasn't the one Yu Yan-ha greeted. Meeting her eye was also my imagination. She was talking to the guy standing behind me. "Oh, hello. Weren't we on the same team before?" She talked too politely for a 17-year-old, but that was how Yu Yan-ha liked to keep her distance. "Yes? Ah, right. Haha." After exchanging just 2 sentences, Jin Ho-sung broke out in a cold sweat. Yu Yan-ha was difficult to talk to, and it wasn't just because of her background and personality. Yu Yan-ha and Shin Young-hak were a couple officially, but not unofficially. At this point, it was more like a one-sided crush from Yu Yan-ha. "Ah, Hazuki-shi is coming too. Hello." Like her name suggested, Hazuki was a Japanese cadet. She walked over with eyes that looked like she was about to cry. Yu Yan-ha glanced at her slightly displeased, then spoke. "Who's the other person?" "It's me." Yu Yan-ha didn't like people who lacked confidence and self-esteem. As such, I stepped up confidently. Hazuki and Jin Ho-sung turned towards me first. Hazuki tilted her head as though she didn't know who I was. "Ah, the guy who chose a gun." When Jin Ho-sung mentioned my previous feat, I checked Yu Yan-ha's expression. Unexpectedly, she didn't show any emotion, but that was even more frightening. At that moment, Kim Soo-yuk shouted loudly, "There's no time for chit-chat. You should have gotten the coordinate and information of the monster you'll need to kill on your smartwatch. Get going." A total of 25 teams. Including the other classes that joined in, there was a total of 100 teams. Our mission was to head to the coordinate given to us and kill the monster there. We were then ranked based on how quickly and safely we completed our mission. Wing! As soon as the instructor's voice rang out, Yu Yenha projected her smartwatch into the air. Black Hump Octopus, 373132N. The monster's name and coordinate were written there. Yu Yenha spoke tersely. "Let's go. We can talk while we're moving." I was running through a field. Beyond this ocean of golden reeds should be the Black Hump Octopus. But running was extremely difficult due to my horrible physical stats. The sneakers I made last night seemed useless. Its 1-hour duration had not run out, but my stamina had already bottomed out. In the end, I fell down while running and the team stopped because of me. "It's fine. What matters is whether or not we can kill the monster." Seeing me gasping for breath on the ground, Jin Ho-sung said as he handed me a bottle of water. "He's right. Apparently this is common when you work with magicians." Hazuki also consoled me with her mediocre Korean. I was thankful, but I was checking for Yu Yenha's reaction the most. Contrary to my expectations, she didn't seem too displeased. She was simply sitting modestly on the ground, reading information about the Black Hump Octopus on her watch. I also pulled up the necessary information from my head. Black Hump Octopus. Low intermediate rank monster. Special features. The main body isn't strong, but numerous baby octopuses pop out from the hump on its head. As dozens pop out at once, it isn't easy to deal with them. Baby octopuses can suck human blood and turn them into mummies in just 1 second. They are classified as low-rank monsters. Strategy: eliminate all baby octopuses. Alternatively, destroy the black hump where the main body's magic power is created. Weakness: black hump. Strength: suction cups and baby octopuses. Perhaps because I was the one who wrote the setting for the Black Hump Octopus, thorough information on the monster came out. "I'll deal with the babies while you two take care of the main body." Soon, Yu Yenha turned off her smartwatch and said to Hazuki and Jin Ho-sung, "Ah, I get it now." Yu Yenha was acting like I didn't exist. I was at the same level as air, which is why she didn't reprimand me or seem displeased. "Let's go now." Offended by her treatment, I forced myself to get up. Thanks to my sneakers, my stamina had recovered. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, I'll go first." I ran ahead of them. Compared to when I was on Earth, I was much quicker. But exactly 10 seconds later, I found myself far behind the other 3.
Chapter 8. There. Just as my legs were about to give out, we found our target monster, a giant octopus rampaging near the beach. A black hump on its back made it look as if it had 2 heads. "I'm ready," Yu Yenha said, lowering herself into the thicket. Jin Ho-sung and Hazuki drew their sword and axe, respectively. "When we charge, baby octopuses will pop out of its hump. When that happens, you two should fall back and wait until I finish them off. Warriors need to conserve their magic power. Black hump octopuses regenerate quickly, so we have to remove the hump in a single blow." Yu Yenha continued her explanation. In truth, it was best to leave the baby octopuses to me. My handgun had high base power, enough to kill any number of them in 1 shot. However, damaging the main body was difficult unless I landed a critical hit. Still, Yu Yenha didn't say anything to me, so I just stood there, holding back a yawn. The moment she finished speaking, Jin Ho-sung and Hazuki charged forward. As they closed in, Jin Ho-sung cleared his throat and let out a roar. "Quick! Geek!" My ears burned, but it worked. The black hump octopus lowered its head, spotting us, and pointed its cannon-shaped hump in our direction. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out, and dozens of creatures shot from its hump. Mushy lumps rained down from the sky. As planned, Jin Ho-sung and Hazuki stepped aside. while Yuye Hana raised her whip, magic power coursing through it. But I raised my handgun before Yuye Hana could act. "Hey, you don't have to Yuye Hana tried to stop me, shocked, but I ignored her. Now was my time to shine. I activated bullet time. Immediately, my blood boiled, my vision sharpened, and the world slowed. I could see and predict the trajectory of the falling octopuses. Their simple movement made them easier targets than the mole crickets. 20 magic bullets were loaded. It was simple. I just aimed and pulled the trigger. The added luck was a bonus. Magic bullets silently cut through the air, leaving blue trails. 1 bullet per target. The clip emptied in an instant, but reloading was just as fast. I fired another 20 bullets, then another 20 bullets. After shooting 60 bullets non-stop, the world returned to normal. Huh? The creatures that had blocked the sun vanished without a trace. The sudden change left Yuye Hana and the others confused. "Come on, let's go." Right, yes." Snapping out of her daze, Yuye Hana rebuked Hazuki and Jin Hoseng. Only then did the warriors charge at the main body. Yuye Hana's long whip shot out, wrapping around the octopus's hump. As her elegant whip crushed the hump, a mole cricket burst from the ground. "Geek!" Crying out, the mole cricket leapt at Yuye Hana. I fired my last bullet, hitting it dead on. The magic bullet exploded inside, splattering blood and mucus onto Yuye Hana. Before she was covered in goo, Yuye Hana calmly spread her magic power. The mole cricket's mucus fell after hitting her barrier. A nod. But she couldn't block everything. Yuye Hana shot me a deathly glare, but she knew now wasn't the time to complain. She lashed her whip at the octopus again. The whip joined the sword and axe in a dance with the tentacles. Case closed. Time elapsed 9 minutes 40 seconds. Yuye Hana had cut off 4 of the 8 tentacles, all while standing next to me and barely moving. She had fulfilled her 2 duties, supporting the warriors and protecting the sharpshooter. Now that the battle was over, Yuye Hana closed her eyes. Around her ankles and snow-white collarbone were dried blood and mucus from the mole cricket. Sighing, she took out a handkerchief and wiped herself off. Then she turned to me. "Excuse me." Her eyes were smiling, but not kindly. I met her gaze, unable to answer. The anger in her eyes was sharp as blades. Yuye Hana hated getting her body and clothes dirty more than anything. "You didn't need to bother. I can handle a mole cricket just fine. Much cleaner. Because of you, my clothes got dirty." At that moment, 2 oblivious warriors approached. "Whew! It was quick thanks to you. I saw it. You took out the baby octopuses, right? Guns have their advantages, huh?" "That was amazing." Yuye Hana, seemingly afraid of getting dirtier, slowly stepped away. Team 5, total time 58 minutes 58 seconds, 16th out of 100. Though Yuye Hana finished in the upper half, her expression wasn't good. But since grades were based on individual performance filmed by drones, she didn't mind too much. As expected, Kim Soo-hook and Shin Jong-hak's teams took first and second place. Still, she was bitter that China Yoon's team ranked higher. Drones filmed everything. The footage will be sent to your smartwatches, so you'll see why you were quick or slow, your team's compatibility with the monster, and how you can improve. It'll be part of your grades. Kim Soo-hook gave a long-winded explanation. Yuye Hana turned her head slightly and looked behind her. A dull-looking man was yawning in a daze. It was entirely his fault the team was late. Because he lacked stamina, they couldn't reach the monster quickly. What should have taken 10 minutes took 50. But it was also thanks to him that they finished 16th. His quick shooting eliminated all the baby octopuses in 3 seconds. Since Yuye Hana had prepared to fight them for 15 minutes, he played a big role. Of course, she still played the biggest role by crushing the main body's hump. Yuye Hana held back the urge to blame someone, but that only increased her unreasonable jealousy and envy towards China Yoon. She glared at the back of China Yoon's head. If she wouldn't be caught, she wanted to smack her. Yuye Hana's hand trembled, reaching toward China Yoon's head. But instead of doing something extreme, she lightly tapped China Yoon's shoulder. "Nyan? How was it?" Well, as you see, 4th place. What a shame. I wanted to beat Shin Jong-hak and Rachel. What about you?" I'm 16th. Oh, wow, you got 16th with that gun-using sharpshooter? We got the black hump octopus. We just had to remove the hump. And that's what you did, right? Yuye Hana nodded with a bright smile. Yep. Late at night, after regular classes, I was working out in the training room. Having just finished running, I felt like I was dying, but I needed to do it, so I focused on working out for 3 hours. Thankfully, the equipment wasn't much different from Earth's, just heavier. For example, the leg extension machine went from 15 kilograms to 500 kilograms. After finishing, I stumbled to the dressing room like a zombie and collapsed onto a seat. After catching my breath for 5 minutes, I took out my laptop and a fatigue recovery drink. First, I checked today's results on the laptop. Luck applies. As the enemy is only a low-rank monster, your accuracy increases greatly. All attacks hit their mark. Your gift's proficiency increases by 20%. Perception increases by 0.03. Luck applies. Your eyes and ears seem to work better. You gain 27 SP. As expected, I got lucky with my accuracy during today's combat training. And thanks to standing out to Yu Yain Ha, I gained some SP too. Through working out, your strength increases by 0.02. Through working out, your stamina increases by 0.02. Through working out, your vitality increases by 0.02. Mana mysteriously melts into your torn muscle fibers. Your strength, stamina, and vitality increase by 0.03. The stats I gained from working out were more than I expected. Something like this would have been impossible on Earth. Enlightenment and luck must have played a part. But with the sharp pain all over my body, I wasn't sure I could even get up tomorrow. Of course, I already had a solution in mind. Fatigue recovery drink. Restores the body from fatigue. Contains a tiny amount of temperate mana. Current SP 36. This was a fatigue recovery drink provided by Cube. I planned to modify its effect. Of course, something like completely restores the body from fatigue was unlikely to work. Even if it did, it would be a waste to use all my SP. But with the right restrictions, I could make a decent product. I added one line to the drink's description. If Kim Hajin goes to sleep within 2 hours of use, he will slowly recover from physical fatigue over the course of 8 hours. I set 4 restrictions: only Kim Hajin, sleeping within 2 hours of use, physical fatigue only, non-instantaneous recovery, but slowly over 8 hours. You can save the modified setting using 0.5 SP. Because the drink already had a similar effect, the SP required was exactly what I gained from working out. After saving the modified effect, I gulped down the drink. Blup. Now, I had to go back and sleep. Otherwise, the drink would be wasted. My joints. I staggered forward like a zombie. At the same hour, Yu Yain Ha was analyzing the video from the day's combat training. With several drones filming each team, she could see the battle from multiple angles. At least he's quick. The more she watched, the more curious she became. The black hump octopus fired a total of 59 babies, but before they could even touch the ground, the sharpshooter's bullets eliminated them. Black hump octopuses usually reabsorb the babies to recover energy, then shot out more. Because of this, Yu Yain Ha had prepared for a drawn-out battle, but the fight ended in just 10 minutes. I don't remember seeing him in Agent Military Academy. The more she thought about it, the stranger this sharpshooter seemed. His stamina was abnormally low, and he had suddenly changed this weapon? That was as far as Yu Yain Ha got in her notes about Kim Hajin. She received a sudden message. What's up? It was Shin Jong-hak. Grinning, Yu Yain Ha tapped on the hologram keyboard. Analyzing the video from today? Why are you doing that now? I'm going to inherit a guild in the future, so I have to look for promising talents. There are none in your team. They're all trash. Yu Yain Ha snickered. He was right, but also arrogant. If it were anyone else, she would have found it detestable, but just the fact that he was Shin Jong-hak made his arrogance seem chic. It wasn't logical,
But Yu Yanha's feelings for Shin Jong-hak were never logical. How's that gun shooting guy? So he was curious after all. He had a cute side, too. He's okay. He did a man's worth of work. Exactly what you'd expect from rank 934. 2.78 seconds. In that short time, he shot 60 bullets and hit 59. Yu Yanha made a pulling motion with her finger. Was it possible to pull the trigger 20 times in a second? Or did that handgun have an automatic firing button? Ding dong. In the middle of her thoughts, the bell rang. Ah, my room service is here. Yu Yanha hopped to the door. Opening it, she saw her neatly dressed butler waiting. She was happy to see the butler her father had chosen. Thank you, Si-chan-si. The butler bowed respectfully. Yu Yanha took her food and returned to her seat. I'm back. Were you waiting? Yu Yanha opened the dome-shaped lid on her elegant silver platter. No. Inside was plain food. A patty between two buns, the symbol of commoners. On the side were French fries and a bottle of Coke. It was a hamburger set. First, she munched on a fry. What did you order? Shin Jong-hak asked just at the right time. Yu Yanha replied casually. Just the usual, a little bit of foie gras interior.
Chapter 9. Wednesday's first class was anti-personnel training. This 2-hour class simply had 2 cadets pair up and spar. The spars used training weapons, making the fights less painful and easier to grade. In this class, Kim Soo-ho paired with Yi Young-han, and Shin Jong-hak paired with Kim Horak. Ooh! Rank 934, Kim Hajin, get up! I can't. As for me, I was scuffling with the anti-personnel combat instructor instead of another cadet. There wasn't a training gun available. Since real guns couldn't be used in sparring due to the risk of unintentional injuries, I was stuck fighting the instructor. What do you mean you can't? The female instructor ordered me to give my all. Get up! Seeing my bullet slightly scratch her forearm, she got angry and grabbed me by the collar. Now that things had come to this, I regretted spending my first 2 weeks in this world loafing around. I should have spent the time working out. I can't continue. Yes, you can. My body won't move. It will. The instructor forcefully pulled me up. Put up your guard and do something. She was telling me to do something, but the handgun in my hand felt heavy. I pulled the trigger half-heartedly. The instructor blocked the bullet with her hand, then tackled me. Unable to resist, I stumbled and fell. An electrifying feeling shot through my body. I give up! I give up! You didn't move after shooting. I said do something. Chack! She slapped my face. Get up! Chack! I was starting to get annoyed. Come to think of it, isn't this woman younger than me? I said, get up! I refused to take it a third time. I barely managed to grab her arm, then, you fucker! I bit the instructor's hair with my teeth. Ah, what are you doing? 934, let go, let go, let go! Gnashing on her hair, I pulled back as though my life depended on it. My strange actions turned the surroundings silent, but I didn't have time to care about that. This is a warning! Let go! I said, let go! This hair, I'll bite it off. I swear I'll bite it off. I could see the instructor's fist in front of my eyes. I had no memory of what happened next. But since I managed to gain 40 SP out of it, it didn't feel such a bad trade. Cube had clubs. The head instructor, Kim Soo-hyuk, told us we wouldn't be able to enjoy our youth, but I didn't set Cube to be such a horrible place. While it was normal to be covered in monster blood or to kill djinns from time to time,
Cube encouraged cadets to enjoy their hobbies for their mental health. Being in a relationship was technically prohibited, but it was tacitly allowed by all the faculty. Cube's clubs were no different from college circles. Club promotions happened in the second week after first-year cadets arrived. I set the number of clubs in my novel to be about 100, but considering there were only 5,000 cadets in the whole school, it might not have been the most realistic. In any case, there was a club for almost any topic. There were hobby clubs like bowling, pool, and VR, as well as academic clubs like studying, martial arts, and training. I planned to join more than one club. Obviously, the purpose was to stay close to the main characters. I already knew who was in which club. Kim Suho and Yi Young Han were in traveling. Chae Na-yoon was in traveling and hunting. Yu Yi Han-ha was in traveling and academics. Shin Jong-hak wasn't in any club, and Rachel was in reading. Clearly, the traveling club was an obvious choice. Next, I had to choose from the hunting club, the reading club, and the academics club. As students could join multiple clubs, I could join all 4 if I wanted to, but that was too difficult realistically. I only had one body to work with. Among these, the easiest club to gain SP from seemed to be the academic club. And of the academic clubs, the academic circle called Veritas had an antagonist who played an important role early in the story. VR club? Folklore village? Interesting. Suddenly, I got a strange feeling. Sitting on a bench in Cube's Hero Park, I looked around. Likely because all classes had ended, the park was bustling with people. It all felt too mysterious. The setting I had scribbled down had taken a life of its own, filling in missing holes and creating this world. There were many things that were new to me. The VR club I mentioned was one of them, and so was that couple secretly making out behind the bushes. Haha, ew, that's a bit. Seeing them starting to get touchy, I got up with a frown. Afterwards, I ran around busily collecting club application forms from the park. 4 forms. I didn't get a favorable look when I received them, but I succeeded nonetheless. I'll need to join the traveling club for sure. 4 leading characters were in the traveling club. It was the result of me wanting to tie them together for major and minor events. But compared to the club's importance in the storyline, it wasn't popular among students. It only had 20 people from all 3 grades, and third years were mostly busy with guild interviews and internship missions. Realistically, it only had about 14 people. I couldn't explain why. That's just how I said it because having more people seemed troublesome. In any case, the traveling club was confirmed. After thinking about the others, I decided to join just 2 more. Setting the reading club aside, I chose the hunting club and the academics club. Clubs began after all classes ended, and these 3 clubs didn't overlap at all. The academic club met on Tuesdays, hunting on Thursdays, and traveling was either Saturday or Sunday. Rachel ended up left out, but she was an untouchable existence for now. Okay, flack. After flicking the application papers with my fingers, I stood up. Now it was time to receive even more obscure gazes from club leaders. The capital of Korea, Seoul, was filled with guilds that vied for the world's top position. Distinguished guilds like Essence of the Strait, Desolate Moon, and Frost Sanctuary were located in the collectively established guild district in Seoul, making it the center for Jin and monster subjugation requests, technological advances, and businesses. The guild visit is set for Friday, 2 weeks later. Seoul's guild district was filled with skyscrapers, but one especially brilliant building wasn't so tall. The geometric design of this building grabbed any passerby's attention. It was the building belonging to the guild Creator's Sacred Grace. With cutting-edge magic engineering technology, the inside of the building was twice as large as it looked from the outside, while its mana density was always maintained above grade 3. Understood. In this environment optimal even for heroes, the vice leader Yoon Song-ah took her secretary's report. Currently, Yoon Song-ah's attention was solely devoted to finding promising talents.
It was a widely acknowledged fact that CUBE's freshmen this year were exceptional. It was said that some had gifts that could alter the guild's rankings. If she let her competitors steal them, the first-place position she'd worked so hard to get would be jeopardized. Consequently, Yoon Sang-ah's eyes were glued to the guild's intranet database, which contained videos from CUBE's first combat training. Kim Soo-ho really is something. Currently on her screen was the combat training's first-place finisher, Kim Soo-ho. Fighting against a monster, his sword chi stood sharply. But his sword's chi wasn't the only awe-striking scene. His sword's fluid movements made it look like his sword was water. His swordsmanship didn't resemble anyone else's, almost like a formless sword technique. With this technique, he seemed to tear apart space along with his target monster. Yes, he doesn't seem close to any guilds either. He is first on our priority. I want to bring him in no matter what. Oh, someone's using a gun? Kim Soo-ho's video ended, and Yoon Sang-ah's eyes, scanning the remaining list, shined with curiosity. Yes, there were talks about it in the guild community. There was? Sorry, I've been too busy lately. It was uploaded from the Cube community. He was in Yu Yenha's team, which is why it gathered so many views in the first place. According to inside information, he's quite the strange one. Strange one. Huh. Curious about this unique individual, Yoon Sang-ah played the video. Team 5. Jin Ho-sung, Hazuki, Yu Yenha, Kim Hajin. Though not awe-inspiring, the 10-minute video certainly drew her attention. He wasn't using an automatic rifle and still managed to fire 60 shots in 2.78 seconds? It was physically impossible. Even if you were quick enough to pull the trigger 60 times, the gun wouldn't be able to endure it. In other words, a trans-physical power was at play. Yes, it seems he changed his weapon from a sword to a gun as soon as he entered Cube. Enlightenment. I think so too. Enlightenment at just 17 years old? Leaning back, Yoon Sang-ah fell into deep contemplation. Changing one's weapon after going through enlightenment. Though rare, it happened. Gifts presented cadets with individuality, but before enlightenment, it was impossible to know exactly what one's gift was. In cases like this, where one had to change to an unfamiliar weapon, it took 3 years to catch back up. This is also why CUBE's lower academy, the Agent Military Academy, encouraged cadets to use a variety of weapons. Knowing how to wield several weapons made it easier to transition from one weapon to another if necessary. He experienced enlightenment early, but if using a gun is all his gift can do, I can't say it's too desirable. Right, if his gift could be used with a bow, he would have chosen a bow. I agree. But being enlightened at the age of 17 is still a rare occurrence. We should at least keep an eye on him. Is there a free recruiter? No, because of how exceptional this year's cadets are, everyone is at their limit. Yoon Sung-ah hesitated. Nowadays, recruiters are expensive. Even if she hired a new recruiter without attachment to the guild, they could simply run away to another guild with the guild's information. Then, let him be. If he really is special, I'm sure he'll stand out again. At that decision, her secretary nodded, without objection.
Chapter 10. I needed to make money. It wasn't a hopeful wish, but a necessity. When I saw the bill delivered to my room, I almost fainted. I had a 300 million won debt. In other words, I had taken out every loan a Cube cadet could get. This had to be Chundong's doing. The loan only had a low 1% yearly interest, but since I wasn't earning anything, I was just losing money.
Unfortunately, the bank account Chundong left behind only had 3 million won. That was nowhere near enough to survive in this world, where power and money meant everything. Thankfully, there were several ways I could get rich. First was the stock market. Towers and dungeons were constantly being discovered in this world. I knew the names of the guilds that would find or conquer them. Guilds here were treated like companies, so you could buy stocks of public guilds on the guild stock market. Today was March 2nd, 2025. My settings book should be full of useful information. I opened my laptop. Settings list. March 15th, 2025. Newly founded guild, Packhorse Master, goes public. July 4th, 2025, they conquer the dungeon, Suwon Royal Devil's Nest. In reality, the Packhorse Master Guild was established by djinns. Because they would play an important role in the story, I made sure to note them in the settings book. Conquering Suwon Royal Devil's Nest would make their stock price skyrocket by 1,000%. It wouldn't be until 3 years later, when they were discovered, that they would be delisted. This incident would become the lowest point for the current #1 guild, Creator's Sacred Grace. It was also the decisive event that made Yoon Sung-ah its leader. This plan, which Yoon Sung-ah opposed, would drop their rank to 7. I had 2 opportunities to make money from this incident. First, before the plan was announced. Second, before the plan failed. Even with just these 2, though they were the only early financial incidents I wrote in the settings book, I could make a fortune. The problem is, I didn't have any money to start with. Do I need to go out to the field? Field refers to danger zones where monsters appeared. Unlike towers and dungeons, the danger level of fields depended on their grade, so you didn't need permits to enter the less dangerous ones. I should be able to enter the field in Gangwon-do. Wait, I remembered something about Gangwon-do. There was a setting I arranged there. What was it? Using Control F, I searched for a specific word. Year 2026. Jin, Tomer, discovers Aether from Gangwon-do's Gari Mountain Dungeon. Found it. Mystic grade formless weapon Aether. I wanted to take it for myself, but without Aether, Tomer would be left without a weapon. Not to mention, Tomer was an important antagonist in the story. Of course, without a weapon, the story would become easier, but if I took Aether just for that reason, it might affect the future in an unknown way. I was afraid of that uncertainty. Well, whatever. Tomer is strong even without Aether. Once all my stats reached about 3 or 4, I should go take Aether. Whing! At that moment, I felt a vibration on my wrist. It was a message. Traveling Club announcement. There will be a short trip on Sunday to serve as a freshman orientation. Oh, right, that was a thing. Immediately after I recalled information about the traveling club, the smartwatch vibrated again. Academic club announcement. There will be an orientation on Friday for the freshmen. And there's this one, too. So annoying. I thought I could rest a bit on the weekend, but there were club activities. Not to mention, the academic club was tomorrow. Cube's combat training was on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so I should have been able to relax on Mondays and Fridays. But on this precious Friday, I was walking toward a certain club room. Some distance ahead, Yu Yun-ha was walking with her usual elegance. The academic club's room was 304. When I entered, I saw many first years, as expected. There were about 30, and 23 of them were girls. Most of them were probably drawn in by the club president. After glancing around the club room, I sat behind Yu Yun-ha. I could smell a flowery scent from her hair. After being forced to smell this scent for 5 minutes, the club president finally showed up. Nice to meet you. I'm Yoon Hook. Welcome to our academic club, Veritas. The club president was Yoon Hook, a third year. I didn't join this club just for Yu Yun-ha. Yoon Hook was a djinn. Soon, several incidents would happen in Cube, including a monster invasion. Yoon Hook would be the mastermind behind it. Of course, I had no reason to trouble myself by shouting, "That guy's a djinn," though that would probably give me a decent amount of SP. Anyway, Yoon Hook was contracted to the devil of enchantment, Lilith. In exchange for selling his soul, he gained a beautiful appearance and an ability called enchantment.
Currently, he should have his eyes on Yu Yun-ha. That's why Lilith gave him a high rank ability like enchantment. Since today's just the orientation, we'll only briefly discuss what our club is about. Hearing his charming voice, the eyes of the female cadets were already shining. In Veritas, we research and discuss classification, weaknesses, behaviors, and attributes of monsters. Topics include monster classification, how they behave, where their vital points are, what their attribute is, and how to deal with them efficiently. What Yoon-huk mentioned was an important topic in modern society. Monster analysis was one of the most competitive college majors, and there were even non-combatant heroes who focused on researching monsters. These heroes, who didn't have combat gifts, were still treated as heroes because they had gifts that aided in transhuman knowledge. I'll give you a quick example. Let's take a look at this monster. As I'm sure you know, it is a totem scallop. A hologram image popped up. Just like its name suggested, the totem scallop is a scallop that produces a totem. With high intelligence and the ability to use magic, totem scallops are high intermediate rank grade 3 monsters. Thankfully, they are gentle and don't attack as long as you stay out of their territory. But just like pearls from ordinary scallops, the totems from totem scallops are incredibly valuable, making them targets for guilds everywhere. As you know, totem scallops are extremely hard to kill, but careful analysis shows that they're classified no differently than an ordinary scallop. But because no other monsters share similarities with them, it's hard to guess where their vital point is. Yu Yun-ha's explanation continued, but since I already knew all this, I couldn't help but yawn. Immediately, Yu Yun-huk's eyebrows furrowed, and the other female cadets glared at me. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually attacked me if I yawned again. Only Yu Yun-ha kept her eyes on the screen. Kahum! Yu Yun-huk let out a dry cough before continuing.
Because of its ambiguous attribute and behavior, the totem scallop's vital point hasn't been discovered. But for other monsters like the 1,000-mile horse, the orientation ended 40 minutes later. This time I got up, yawning inwardly so I wouldn't get attacked. I was about to leave when I saw Yun-hyuk approach Yu Yun-ha. I paused. Yun-hyuk cadetnim. Yes? You forgot this. Yun-hyuk handed Yu Yun-ha a paper she left behind. This wasn't something I wrote in my novel, so I didn't know much about the paper, but I knew he was scheming somehow. Rather than Yu Yun-ha forgetting the paper, Yun-hyuk probably pulled it out with his magic power. Oh, yes, thank you. Yu Yun-ha took the paper with a smile. That seemed to be the end of their encounter. After leaving the club room, I went to a nearby vending machine and bought a Coke and a Sprite. Looking at their names, I couldn't help but laugh. I named them Coin Cola and Spring Sprite to avoid trademark problems, and that was exactly how the names appeared on the cans. Meanwhile, Yu Yun-ha left the club room. With the Coke and Sprite cans in hand, I stood in front of her, blocking her path, then handed her the Coke. Here. Yu Yun-ha's face was full of question marks. We're in the same club. Same team and now the same club. Funny coincidence, right? This was a test. Even working out as if my life depended on it only gave me 4 SP. So how much SP could I get by talking to a leading character? Do you think I'll drink something like this? Yu Yun-ha's eyebrows furrowed and her lips stuck out as if she was angry. But since this was the reaction I expected, I played it off casually. I just got it from the vending machine. Yu Yun-ha was likely attracted to bad boys. Of course, being handsome was a requirement too. Touch it, it's cold. I'm fine. You can have it. And also, I could feel hostility from her glare. But that was as much of her true feelings as her false mask would show. Don't talk to me so casually. This is the first warning. That was it. Yu Yun-ha walked past me without waiting for my reply. Watching her perfect figure walk away, I popped the Sprite can happen. Pshh. Gulp, gulp. Yu Yun-ha's shoulders twitched at the sound. According to my setting, Yu Yun-ha loved unhealthy food like carbonated drinks, hamburgers, fried chicken, and ramen. But she couldn't buy them herself to save face, so she made her trusted butler or attendant buy them for her. Even then, she could only enjoy them once a week. The reason was simple. Not only did she hate showing that side of herself to others,
But her mother also detested unhealthy, commoner food. To make up for the pitiful setting I gave her, I tossed the Coke can into her luxurious brand bag. Drawing a clean arc, the Coke can landed inside. "Carry me next time, too." At these words, Yuya-na glanced back. Then she walked away, muttering quietly to herself. However, I could hear her voice just fine. Who is this crazy guy? Yuya-na's keen senses soon noticed the slight change in her bag. The water from the Coke can's surface was making her textbook wet. That nut job. Just when did he put it in? That little rat. With a deep sigh, Yuya-na released her magic power. Seeping into the paper, her magic power separated the moisture from the textbook and sent it into the air. When she retracted her magic power, the collected moisture fell to the ground. With a sigh, Yuya-na broke out in a cold sweat. At the same time, she felt proud. The application of magic power she just showed was hard for even heroes to accomplish. It seemed simple, but was actually a mysterious and highly difficult technique. When I see him again... After the sense of pride came anger. Yuya-na thought as she twisted her lips, "That talkative bum, I'll need to ask the guys to educate him." But that thought only lasted a moment. Fiddling with the Coke can in her bag, she looked around. There was no one nearby. With a dry cough, she took out a handkerchief from her pocket and wrapped the Coke can before putting it back in the bag. Then, as if nothing happened, she quickened her pace.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.